The world tells us, be open, share your dreams, share your struggles, put everything out there, and people will admire your honesty. But here's the paradox. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the real strength comes not from revealing everything, but from knowing what to hold back. At first, that might sound confusing. After all, we live in a culture where oversharing is almost expected. Social media trains us to post every thought, every success, even our private struggles, as if our worth depends on how much of ourselves we put on display. But here's the truth. When you give too much of yourself away, you often lose something far more valuable, your peace. I learned this the hard way. There were times I spoke too openly about my goals, my feelings, my plans, and instead of finding support, I found doubt, criticism, even envy. It was like pouring water into a leaky cup. No matter how much I shared, I ended up drained. That's when I discovered a powerful teaching. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Buddhism reminds us that silence is not weakness. Privacy is not secrecy. Guarding your inner life is a form of wisdom. It preserves your energy, protects your growth, and keeps your heart steady, even when the world around you is chaotic. Think of it like protecting a small flame. If you expose it to every gust of wind, it flickers and dies. But shield it carefully, and it grows strong enough to light your path forward. And here's the part most people miss. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You don't have to broadcast your every step. Sometimes, the most powerful move is simply to keep your peace within you quiet, steady, unshakable. Stay with me, because at the end of this video I'll share a rare Buddhist insight, a teaching few people talk about, that can completely shift how you view privacy, strength, and freedom. It's something simple, yet life-changing, if you're ready to hear it. 1. Guard your weaknesses. Let's talk about something most people try to hide: our weaknesses. We live in a world that tells us, show only your best, hide your flaws, be strong, be confident, and never let anyone see where you're struggling. But here's the truth. Pretending to be flawless only builds pressure, not strength. And ironically, it is often in the quiet protection of our weaknesses that true growth begins. I remember a time in my own life when I struggled with self-doubt. I wanted to prove myself, so I shared my struggles openly, thinking it would make me relatable. But instead of encouragement, I received judgment. Some people gave advice I didn't ask for. Others quietly used my weakness against me. And the more I put my insecurities out into the open, the smaller I felt. That's when I realized not every weakness needs to be shared with the world. Some battles are meant to be fought in silence, patiently, steadily, until the weakness itself becomes the foundation of your strength. Buddhist wisdom speaks deeply to this. The Buddha taught that suffering is not something to be denied or displayed for validation. Instead, it is a teacher. And like any teacher, its lessons are best learned when you sit quietly with it, without distraction, without the noise of other people's opinions. Think of it this way. Imagine a seed buried in the soil. It is small, fragile, and unseen. But within that hidden space, it gathers strength, pushes through the darkness, and eventually breaks through the surface as something strong and alive. If the seed were dug up too soon, exposed before it was ready, it would never grow. Your weaknesses are like that seed. When you protect them, when you give them the privacy and care they need, they can transform into wisdom, resilience, and compassion. And here's the paradox. By guarding your weaknesses, you are not hiding. You are training. You are building an inner fortress where growth happens without interference. And one day, when you emerge stronger, the world will see the result, not the struggle. So the next time you feel the urge to reveal every insecurity, pause. Ask yourself, am I sharing this to heal, or am I sharing this to be validated? Because healing often happens in silence. Validation may feel good in the moment, but it rarely leads to transformation. The Buddha once said, "Do not reveal your weaknesses to those who cannot help you." It's a gentle reminder that our inner struggles deserve respect. They are not entertainment for others. They are sacred lessons for us. And when you learn to honor your weaknesses in this way, something powerful shifts. What once felt heavy becomes light. What once felt like shame becomes wisdom. And suddenly, what you thought was your greatest flaw becomes your greatest teacher. This is the first step to protecting your inner world, guarding your weaknesses until they transform into strengths. And in the next part, we'll go even deeper into why your dreams and plans, as exciting as they may be, also need protection. Because sometimes, the very act of sharing them too soon can stop them from ever coming true. 2. Be selective with trust. Let's be honest. Trust is one of the most fragile yet powerful things we can give to another person. And still, so many of us hand it out too quickly. Why? Because deep down, we crave connection. We want someone to understand us, to see us, to carry a piece of our inner world. But here's the conflict. Not everyone deserves that access. Not everyone will hold what we share with care. I learned this lesson the hard way. There was a time when I trusted too easily. I opened up about my fears, my struggles, my dreams. And instead of finding support, I found gossip. What I had shared in confidence became a story passed around. It cut deeper than the original struggle itself. That's when I realized, trust is not something you give away like free samples. It's something you cultivate, like a garden. You don't let just anyone walk through it. You choose carefully who enters, because one careless step can destroy what took years to grow. Buddhist wisdom offers a profound reminder here. The Buddha once said, "An unguarded mind brings suffering, just as an unguarded house invites thieves." Your heart, your inner world, is like that house. If you leave the doors wide open to anyone, don't be surprised when some come in only to take, not to give. But being selective with trust doesn't mean closing yourself off. It means honoring your inner world enough to protect it. It means giving people small opportunities to show whether they can be gentle with your truth. Like testing the soil before planting a seed, you check if it's fertile, if it can support life. Only then do you place something valuable inside. Think about it. Every time you trust someone, you are planting a piece of yourself in their care. If the soil is healthy, your trust grows into deeper connection, love, and safety. But if the soil is barren or toxic, your trust will wither, leaving you hurt and empty. So how do you know who is worthy of trust? Time, consistency, how they handle the little things before you entrust them with the big ones. If someone respects your boundaries, if they honor small promises, if they protect even the tiniest pieces of your story, then maybe, just maybe, they can be trusted with more. But if someone dismisses your feelings, shares what was meant to stay private, or disappears when things get difficult, then that's your answer. They haven't earned the key to your inner home. Here's the beauty of this approach. Being selective doesn't isolate you. It actually strengthens your relationships. Because instead of scattering your trust everywhere, you place it in the hands of those who prove they can hold it with care. And when you find those people, the bond becomes unshakable. So remember this, not everyone deserves to know the whole map of your heart. Let them walk with you a little while. See how they carry themselves. See if they walk with compassion. And only when they've proven they can walk gently, then and only then, invite them deeper. This is what it means to be selective with trust. It's not about fear. It's about wisdom. And when you practice this, you not only protect yourself, you also create space for genuine, lasting connection. Now that we've explored the power of selective trust, let's take it a step further. Because if guarding your weaknesses and choosing wisely who you trust are essential, then the next key is protecting your dreams, those fragile seeds of possibility that can so easily be crushed if shared too soon. 3. Your emotional reactions. Here's a truth we don't often admit. Sometimes, the greatest power others have over us isn't their strength, their status, or their words. It's our own emotional reactions. Think about it. Someone criticizes you, and before you know it, you're defending yourself, raising your voice, feeling your heart race. In that moment, they're not controlling you with force. They're controlling you through your reaction. This is the inner conflict. We all want to live in peace, but when anger rises or fear takes over, we lose balance. And in losing balance, we give away our power. I've been there. There was a time when one harsh comment could ruin my entire day. It felt like I was constantly at the mercy of other people's opinions, like my peace depended on their approval. But the more I studied Buddhist wisdom, the more I understood. Nobody can steal your peace unless you hand it over with your reactions. The Buddha taught, anger will never disappear so long as thoughts of resentment are cherished in the mind. This means that the real battlefield isn't out there, it's inside. The problem isn't the trigger itself, but how we choose to respond. So how do we reclaim our power? By pausing, by breathing, by creating that sacred space between stimulus and response. It sounds simple, but it's life-changing. When someone provokes you, instead of snapping back, you inhale deeply. You observe what's rising inside. Maybe heat in your chest, maybe tension in your jaw, and you let it pass through you like a storm cloud drifting across the sky. This isn't weakness. It's mastery. Because anyone can lash out, but only the strong can remain calm. I remember once, in a heated argument, I stopped mid-sentence and simply breathed. The other person expected me to explode, but I didn't. I stayed grounded. And something incredible happened. The fire burned out faster than it ever had before. That moment taught me a powerful lesson. Sometimes silence speaks louder than reaction. Here's a practice you can try. The next time you feel your emotions boiling, say to yourself, "This is only a wave. I am the ocean." Waves rise, waves fall, but the ocean remains vast and steady. You are that ocean. Your emotions are only passing waves. When you remember this, you stop being easily manipulated. No one can push your buttons because you've learned not to hand them the remote control. And the beauty is, this practice doesn't just protect you, it protects your relationships. Because when you respond with mindfulness instead of impulse, conversations soften. Conflicts resolve faster. Trust deepens. So don't let your emotions be exploited. Guard them with awareness. Observe before you act. Breathe before you speak. And always remember, you are bigger than the storm inside you. Now, if guarding your weaknesses, being selective with trust, and mastering your emotional reactions are essential, then the next step is just as vital. Protecting your dreams. The seeds of your future that need silence and care to grow. 4. Privacy is power. We live in a world that constantly tells us to share. Share your thoughts. Share your goals. Share your struggles. And if you don't, people might even call you secretive, closed off, or unwilling to connect. But here's the paradox. In a society that encourages exposure, true power often comes from privacy. When you keep parts of your inner world to yourself, you're not hiding, you're protecting. You're protecting your peace, your energy, and the sacred space where your authentic self can breathe. I used to believe that being open about everything was the key to trust. So I'd post my plans online, talk about my next moves, and share every emotion with anyone who asked. But do you know what happened? The more I shared, the more I felt exposed, judged, and influenced by other people's expectations. Instead of living freely, I was living under their gaze. That's when Buddhist wisdom struck me with clarity. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." And part of seeking peace within means not allowing the noise of the world to invade your silence. Not everyone deserves access to your deepest self. Not every seed of your dream is ready to be shown. Think of it like this. A seed planted in the soil needs darkness before it can sprout. If you dig it up too soon to show others, it dies before it has the chance to grow. In the same way, your goals, your healing, your transformation, these things need privacy to develop strength. Of course, society tells us the opposite. It tells us, put everything out there. The more visible, the better. But ask yourself, does visibility always equal authenticity? Or are we sometimes performing for the crowd, shaping ourselves according to what others want to see? For me, choosing privacy was liberating. I stopped announcing every goal. I stopped oversharing personal struggles. And in that silence, I found space to actually focus. I realized I wasn't living to impress anymore. I was living to grow. Here's the deeper truth. Privacy isn't about shutting people out. It's about creating a boundary that honors your journey. It's about saying, this part of me is sacred, and I choose who gets to see it. So, how do you practice this? Start small. The next time you feel the urge to post every detail online, pause. Ask yourself, does sharing this add peace, or does it drain me? When someone presses you for personal information, it's okay to smile and simply say, I'd rather keep that private. You don't owe the world every piece of your soul. And here's the most beautiful part. The less you feel the need to be seen, the freer you become. Because your worth no longer depends on validation. It depends on your inner clarity, your inner strength. So remember, this privacy is not weakness. It's power. It's a shield that protects the flame of your spirit from being blown out by the winds of judgment and comparison. And as we move deeper into this journey, there's one final layer we need to explore, how protecting your inner world not only preserves peace, but also fuels the courage to live authentically, no matter what the world expects. 5. Silence is a weapon. Silence. For many people, that word feels uncomfortable. We're taught that silence is weakness. That if you don't respond, you're losing. That if you stay quiet, others will walk over you. But let me share something that completely shifted my perspective. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is a weapon, a shield. And sometimes, the most powerful response you can give is no response at all. I remember a time when someone attacked me with harsh words. My first instinct was to defend myself, to argue, to fight back. But instead I chose silence. I simply listened. And in that stillness, something incredible happened. Their anger had nowhere to land. It burned out on its own. And I walked away with my peace intact. This is what Buddhist wisdom teaches us. Not every battle deserves your energy. The Buddha said, better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Sometimes that one word is silence. Because silence doesn't mean surrender. It means control. Control of your emotions, your reactions, your energy. Here's the inner conflict many of us face. We believe that speaking up proves strength. We fear that silence makes us invisible. But in reality, silence can be the higher ground. It gives you the space to observe, to breathe, to respond with clarity instead of impulse. Think about arguments you've had in the past. How often did words spoken in anger actually solve anything? More often, they added fuel to the fire. But when you choose silence, you step out of the cycle. You stop feeding the flames. Silence also protects you from manipulation. When you reveal too much, your triggers, your fears, your insecurities, people can use them against you. But when you hold your ground in silence, others can't easily control you. They can't twist your emotions if you don't hand them the rope. This doesn't mean shutting down completely. It means being intentional, choosing when to speak, and when to hold your voice. Like a sword kept in its sheath, silence is most powerful when used wisely. Practically speaking, here's how you can use silence as a tool. Next time you feel provoked, pause before answering. Take a breath. Notice what's rising inside you: anger, fear, pride. Then ask yourself, will speaking bring peace, or will it deepen the conflict? If the answer is conflict, let silence carry your strength. Silence also gives space for others to reveal themselves. When you don't rush to fill the air, people often expose their true intentions. You'll see their character more clearly, not through what they say to you, but through how they react to your stillness. And here's the beauty of it. Silence doesn't just protect you in the moment. It transforms you over time. It teaches patience. It sharpens awareness. It builds a quiet confidence that doesn't need constant validation. So the next time someone tries to drag you into drama, remember, your silence is not weakness. It's strength disguised as stillness. It's wisdom in action. And it just might be the most powerful answer you'll ever give. Because in silence, you're not losing the battle. You're winning yourself. 6. Don't overshare your success. Success. It feels good, doesn't it? We work hard, we overcome obstacles, and when the results finally show up, our first instinct is to tell the world, to post it online, to announce it to friends and family, to celebrate it loudly. And there's nothing wrong with feeling proud of what you've achieved. But here's the paradox. When you overshare your success, you may unintentionally put a target on your back. Instead of inspiring others, you can trigger envy. Instead of receiving genuine support, you may invite silent judgment. I learned this lesson the hard way. Years ago, I reached a big milestone in my career. I was excited. So I told everyone. I thought I would be celebrated, but what I didn't expect was the subtle shift in energy. Some friends grew distant. Others compared themselves to me. Suddenly, my joy felt heavy, as if it came with unspoken expectations. That's when I realized success is like a delicate flame. It shines brightest when you nurture it quietly. But if you expose it too soon, to too many eyes, the wind of envy and pressure can easily blow it out. The Buddha once said, "Do not speak of your progress until it is secure." This teaching carries a profound truth. When you guard your success with humility, you protect both your peace and your growth. Because success isn't just about reaching a goal. It's about sustaining it, deepening it, letting it shape you into someone wiser. The inner conflict we all face is this. We crave recognition. We want others to know we've made it, that our efforts paid off. But the external reality is harsher. People may not always celebrate your rise. Some will project their insecurities onto you. Others may burden you with new expectations, waiting for your next move, your next achievement. So what's the wiser path? Celebrate in silence. Let your success ground you instead of inflate you. Share it with a few trusted souls who truly care for you, who want your light to grow instead of dim. But don't feel the need to announce it to the world. Here's something practical you can try. The next time you achieve something big or small, pause before posting or announcing it. Ask yourself, am I sharing this for joy, or am I sharing this for validation? If it's validation, maybe the deeper practice is to sit with your success in silence, to feel it fully, without the noise of outside opinions. And you'll notice something magical happens. When you don't rush to broadcast your achievements, they sink deeper into your being. They become a source of quiet strength instead of fragile pride. And in that quiet strength, you build resilience for the next chapter of your journey. Because true success doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need constant applause. It speaks for itself through your actions, your presence, your peace. So the next time life rewards you, remember, don't overshare. Protect it. Nurture it. Honor it in silence. That's how you turn temporary wins into lasting wisdom. 7. Protect your reputation. Reputation. It takes years to build, yet only seconds to destroy. One careless word, one thoughtless reaction, can undo what you've worked so hard to earn. I've seen this happen. Maybe you have too. Someone respected, admired, trusted for years suddenly loses credibility over a moment of anger, gossip, or arrogance. It's heartbreaking, because once trust is broken, it's almost impossible to restore to its original form. And here's the inner conflict we all face. Inside, we want to express ourselves freely. We feel emotions rising, frustration, excitement, disappointment, and we just want to let it out. But outwardly, the world is always listening, always watching. People may forgive mistakes, but they rarely forget words that wound or actions that betray. The Buddha once taught, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." This isn't just about speaking kindly. It's about recognizing the power of restraint, knowing when to speak and when silence will serve you better. Think about it. How many times have you said something in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? Maybe it hurt someone you love. Maybe it changed how people saw you. Words, once spoken, can't be taken back. They linger. They leave marks both on others and on your own reputation. I'll be honest, I learned this lesson painfully. In my early career, I was quick to defend myself, quick to argue. I thought speaking loudly meant strength, but all it did was make people cautious around me. I lost opportunities, not because I wasn't capable, but because my words painted me as unpredictable. Over time, I discovered something powerful. Silence, chosen wisely, is not weakness. It's discipline. It's the ability to protect both your peace and your reputation. Because not every battle deserves your voice. Not every comment deserves a reply. And not every situation needs your truth shouted into it. Here's the external challenge. The world today pushes us to share, to react instantly, to voice every thought on social media, in conversations, at work. But the wiser path is slower. It's mindful. It asks, will this word build me up or tear me down? Practical advice? Before you speak, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, does this need to be said? Does it need to be said now? Does it need to be said by me? If the answer isn't clear, maybe the stronger move is silence. Because your reputation is not just what you say. It's what people remember when you leave the room. It's the energy of respect or distrust that follows your name. And that energy is shaped moment by moment, word by word. Protecting your reputation doesn't mean being fake. It means being wise. It means understanding that your words have weight and using them with care. It means holding yourself with the same dignity you wish others to see in you. So remember this truth. A good reputation is like fine porcelain, precious, beautiful, but fragile. Guard it. Polish it with mindful speech. And never risk it over careless words that don't serve your highest self. That's how you preserve not just respect from others, but peace within yourself. Boundaries. Safeguard your peace. Boundaries. It's a word that makes some people uncomfortable, because deep down, we're afraid. Afraid of disappointing others. Afraid of being seen as selfish. Afraid of rejection. And yet, without boundaries, life becomes heavy. You find yourself saying yes when your heart is screaming no. You stay in conversations that drain you. You give and give until there's nothing left for yourself. The conflict here is deep. On one side, we all want connection, approval, to be liked. On the other side, we long for peace, for freedom, for space to breathe. This tug of war between pleasing others and protecting ourselves is something every human faces. The Buddha once said, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." Think about that. Your peace matters as much as anyone else's happiness. Yet so often, we put ourselves last on the list. I remember a time when I felt guilty for setting boundaries. A friend would call late at night, unloading their stress, and even though I was exhausted, I would listen for hours. I told myself, this is what a good friend does. But over time, I noticed I was tired, resentful, even avoiding their calls. The truth is, without boundaries, I wasn't being a better friend. I was being dishonest with them and with myself. Here's the shift. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates. They don't shut people out. They let the right people in the right way. Boundaries are not selfish. They are acts of respect, both for yourself and for others. Imagine your energy like a sacred garden. If you let anyone walk in at any time, they might trample the flowers, pull the roots, leave it bare. But if you place a fence, if you open the gate with intention, the garden flourishes. Your peace is the same. It needs care. It needs protection. Practically speaking, boundaries can look simple. Saying, "I can't talk right now, but let's connect tomorrow." Or, "I appreciate your perspective, but this topic isn't healthy for me." Or even silently stepping back from relationships that no longer align with who you're becoming. The world might resist your boundaries at first. People are used to you always saying yes, always being available. But here's the truth. Those who genuinely care about you will learn to respect your limits. And those who don't were never truly respecting you in the first place. The peace that comes from honoring your boundaries is profound. You stop living in constant exhaustion. You start making choices from clarity, not guilt. And you realize your worth has never been tied to how much you sacrifice, but to how deeply you honor yourself. So remember this: boundaries are not barriers to love. They are the framework that allows love, peace, and respect to thrive. When you protect your energy, you don't just save yourself. You show others what it looks like to live with self-respect, and you give them permission to do the same. That's how boundaries safeguard your peace quietly, firmly, and with grace. 9. Stay vigilant. Luôn, tỉnh, thức, cảnh, giác. Life is never still. Everything around us is shifting like waves on the ocean, never the same twice. One day, things feel calm and steady. The next, a single phone call, an unexpected bill, or a careless word from someone can throw us off balance. And in that moment, it's so easy to get lost. I remember a time when I let my guard down. I trusted too quickly, assumed too much, and ended up hurt. Not because the world is cruel, but because I wasn't truly awake to what was happening inside and around me. The Buddha once said, "A person who is vigilant, even though they may live for only a short while, is better than one who is heedless and lives for 100 years." What does that mean? It means that awareness, true, mindful awareness, is what gives our life depth, meaning, and safety. Without it, we walk blindly into traps laid by others, and sometimes traps we set for ourselves. Think about it. How often do we move through our days on autopilot? Scrolling endlessly, agreeing to things we don't really want to do, reacting with anger before we even know why. That's what it looks like to live without vigilance. We give our power away, little by little, and we wonder why we feel drained, scattered, even betrayed. But when we choose to stay awake, when we notice the small signals, the tone of a conversation, the way our own body tightens with stress, we protect ourselves. Awareness becomes our shield. Staying vigilant doesn't mean living in fear. It doesn't mean doubting everyone around you. It means meeting life with open eyes and refusing to fall asleep at the wheel of your own existence. Here's the truth. There will always be people who try to pull you off your path. Some do it intentionally, out of jealousy or control. Others do it unconsciously, simply acting out their own wounds. And life itself will test you through setbacks, through loss, through sudden changes you didn't see coming. Without vigilance, these storms can drown you. With vigilance, you may still feel the waves, but you know how to swim. You stay steady, even in the chaos. So, how do we practice this? Start small. When you wake up, pause before touching your phone. Take one deep breath. Notice your thoughts. Are they already racing or calm? That awareness is the first step. During the day, check in with yourself. Is your heart tight? Is your mind rushing? If yes, stop. Breathe. Come back to the present moment before reacting. And at night, reflect. Where did you drift off into autopilot today? Where did you stay awake? Each day becomes your teacher. The Buddha taught that mindfulness is the path to freedom. Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now, in the very breath you are taking. So, stay vigilant. Stay awake. Because the more you open your eyes, the less the world can shake you. You become unshakable. And isn't that what we all want? To live not as someone easily swayed, but as someone rooted, present, and at peace, no matter what comes our way. 10. Value inner growth. We live in a world that constantly tells us to chase more. More success. More money. More approval. And yet, even when we get what we thought we wanted, why does the satisfaction fade so quickly? Why do we find ourselves restless, always looking for the next thing? I remember a time in my own life when I measured my worth by how others saw me. If they praised me, I felt on top of the world. If they criticized me, I felt crushed. It was like living on a roller coaster high one day, low the next. The Buddha taught, "Greater in battle than the man who would conquer 1,000 to 1,000 men is he who would conquer just one himself." Those words struck me deeply. Because real victory, real strength, doesn't come from conquering the world. It comes from understanding and growing within ourselves. Here's the truth. Nothing is more important than nurturing your soul every single day. When you focus on inner growth instead of chasing recognition from others, you create a well of strength inside you. A strength that no one can take away. But here's the challenge: we're not taught to value the unseen. We're taught to show results, achievements, numbers. We wear masks just to be accepted. And in that process, we forget to ask, am I becoming a better human being? Am I more patient today than I was yesterday? Am I kinder, more awake? Without those questions, we may appear successful on the outside, but empty on the inside. That's the inner conflict so many of us face, having everything, yet still feeling something is missing. The path of inner growth is different. It asks you to slow down, to look within, even when it's uncomfortable, to face your fears, your attachments, your restless desires, and instead of running from them, you learn to transform them. I can tell you this, when I stopped chasing validation and started valuing my inner growth, life changed. The approval of others mattered less. Peace of mind mattered more. Instead of asking, do they see me? I started asking, do I see myself clearly? And that shift created a kind of freedom I had never known before. This is the sustainable strength that Buddhist wisdom points to. A strength that isn't shaken by success or failure. A strength that grows quietly, like roots deep beneath the soil, hidden but unshakable. So how do we practice? Start simple. Read something each day that nourishes your spirit, not just your mind. Spend a few minutes in silence, reflecting on your actions. Ask yourself, where did I grow today? Where can I do better tomorrow? And most importantly, be patient. Inner growth isn't flashy. It doesn't get applause, but it builds a light within you that guides everything you do. The Buddha often compared the mind to a garden. If we don't tend it, weeds take over. But when we nurture it, watering kindness, patience, wisdom, beautiful things blossom. So remember this. Outer success may open doors, but inner growth builds the foundation you stand on. Outer approval may come and go, but inner peace stays with you always. Cherish that growth. Value it more than any applause, any title, any fleeting recognition. Because when you grow within, you carry a strength, a peace, and a freedom that no one in this world can ever take from you. Summary of key points and reflective lesson. So let's circle back to the question we left hanging at the very beginning. I said there was a rare Buddhist insight about privacy, strength, and freedom. And here it is. The deepest power doesn't come from showing the world everything about you. It comes from knowing yourself so clearly that you don't need the world's constant approval. Think about it. Every point we explored in this video connects to that truth. When you keep your weaknesses private, you protect yourself from those who might misuse them. When you choose carefully who to trust, you honor your inner circle and avoid unnecessary pain. When you keep certain parts of your life sacred and private, you give your soul space to breathe. Silence, as the Buddha reminded us, is not emptiness. It is a source of wisdom. Humility allows you to shine without arrogance. Protecting your reputation guards the respect you've worked years to build. Boundaries are not walls, but shields that preserve your energy and peace. Vigilance keeps you awake, alert, ready to navigate the constant changes of life. And above all, valuing inner growth gives you a strength that no storm can shake. Each of these lessons points back to one thing. Protecting your inner world is not about hiding. It's about choosing wisely. It's about deciding what deserves to be shared and what deserves to be nurtured quietly inside. The Buddha taught that true happiness isn't found in the gaze of others, but in the stillness of our own heart. When you stop living for the eyes around you and start living for the peace within you, something shifts. You no longer feel like you're chasing. You start to feel like you've arrived. And maybe this is the message you needed to hear today. That you don't have to live under constant pressure to be seen, to be validated, to be understood by everyone. Your journey is your own. Your peace is your own. And protecting it is not selfish, it is wisdom. So let me leave you with a thought. Look around at your own life. Where are you giving too much of yourself away? What would happen if you kept some of that energy, that tenderness, that vision just for you? Maybe you're already thinking of someone in your life who needs this reminder too. If so, send them this video. It might be exactly what they need to hear. And if this message touched your heart, I invite you to stay connected with us. Press like if it resonated, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to Buddha Wisdom so you won't miss the next lesson we explore together. Most of all, thank you truly for staying with me until the very end. It means you care about your inner growth, and that's the greatest gift you can give yourself. May you walk away from this video with more clarity, more peace, and more strength to protect the sacred space within you. And until we meet again, may your days be steady, your heart be light, and your soul be free.